shocked by a variety of things, and then we will break them down over here. Hey, Kmart, would you be shocked if the Chiefs' streak of 9 consecutive years winning the AFC West is broken this season?
All right, Greeny, I would not be shocked, but I would be surprised. I don't know why everybody is waiting for it. They want to predict the downfall of the Chiefs. I think they've earned the benefit of the doubt. They do have a lot of questions to answer, though, particularly that wide receiver position. And think about that division, Greeny. Everybody has gotten better, and we have a lot of issues with the Chiefs, so we'll see.
It feels, Lewis, you are our Chiefs. I'm not sure what the right word for it is.
Apology.
Yeah, pretty well.
You know what?
Okay.
What we saw Friday night,
yeah.
we use an expression here all the time. Bad game or bad sign? What was it for KC?
You know, it's a little bit of a bad sign for me. Okay, so that's not apology.
Yeah.
Okay? That's kind of stepping out there. And the reason why is, look, Green, I think on the perimeter, man, it just, look, I do think this football team is better in many different areas. I do. I think they are better on the offensive line. I think we'll see that this week. We better see that this week. And, you know, for their sake. I think they're better on defense, although the defense, as far as stopping the run last week and stopping explosive plays, was not a really good, it wasn't a good performance, but I think Spags will get that turned around. The thing that worries me, though, is the perimeter weaponry as far as the wide receivers are concerned. Xavier Worthy, look, I hate the fact that Friendly Fire took him out, dislocated his shoulder, and if they were that Xavier-centric as far as their passing game is concerned, then I don't think that bodes well for the rest of the season because everyone else didn't really look like they were really ready to step up besides Hollywood Brown. I am concerned about this team, though.
Peter, yesterday, Dominique already jumped all the way to they need to trade for Tyreek Hill.
Bad idea. We'll see how the Miami season goes, but obviously that is a conversation because Tyreek Hill ended his time in Kansas City on good terms with Brett Veach and Andy Reid. It wasn't some blow-up. It wasn't a Micah Parsons deal. They love Tyreek. He wanted to get more money. They traded him to a place he wanted to be. I would just push back and say that was a weird game Friday. You don't play many games in Sao Paulo, Brazil. You don't play many games on a Friday night. And as much as the Chargers had to deal with the same stuff, I'm going to just wait and see until we get a neutral field or Arrowhead where it's a little bit differently because it's week one. They're the defending AFC champions. I'd like to see them on an American soil and without Mr. Beast calling.
I mean, I agree and I understand that. However, these are the same problems that they had last year. And these are the same problems that we predicted coming into the season and we said that they had to address and they would fix. That's the reason why I'm a little bit concerned is because they said we're going to solve this receiver issue. They said we're going to solve the O-line issue, and somehow their defense got a little worse. So those are the concerning parts to me.
The biggest problem that they may have was the news that came across yesterday that Jalen Carter will not be suspended for this game. There was probably a lot of disappointed people in that building.
We're about to see how good that offensive line really is, right? They're going to get tested. They're going to get stretched. And to everybody's point here, when your top receiver is out and your next receiver goes down with an injury, Kelsey, at the tight end position isn't as, I guess, scary as he was in years past. Like, there's just a lot of things. Pacheco is their run game going to be good? Probably average. When you look at all those things, it causes pause. And here's the other part. Their defense doesn't get nearly enough credit of why they've gone to the AFC Championship game the last 2 times. And they are legit. And when they played poorly against the Chargers, that was what put me on alarm. Because they don't have that way to get explosive anymore. So if your defense isn't carrying you, it becomes much more difficult. That was a concerning part.
All right, let me get to the next one. Kimberly Martin, would you be shocked if the suddenly resurgent Justin Fields leads the New York Jets to the playoffs as a wild card team in the AFC? Kmart.
Would I be shocked? Are you kidding? Would I be shocked? I would be really shocked if that happened. Not because I wasn't impressed with what they did in week 1. However, for a new head coach with a new GM and a new quarterback to get to the playoffs with this conference, I think you should just erect a statue of Aaron Glenn outside MetLife automatically, just for Greeny's sake.
I might put one statue up there of Justin Fields the way he looked in week 1. I'm asking someone to tell me that was real and that Tanner Engstrom has unlocked whatever it is that no one else has been able to find in Justin because he was sensational.
Yeah, I think that is sustainable. I think, look, all quarterbacks kind of hit their stride at different paces at different times. I think he may be finding his sweet spot right now. I think him going there to be with Garrett Wilson in particular, look, there's something to be said for the relationship aspect of football. I know we can't really quantify it, but Jeff, Nick, you guys know, Peter, you know, being around people who you're comfortable with, who you've had success with in the past, puts you at ease. Right away, those two were on it. Those two were like in lockstep right away. And And the fundamentals that he was playing with inside the pocket is what really struck me. 2 hands on the football, not looking to run, staying in there, seeing full field reads, and throwing with accuracy. I'm going, those are like 4 things no one's ever said about him.
That's the thing. Those are all the things, Jeff, people have been telling me for years he can't do. Suddenly he did it. Is that the new Justin Fields?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, when you think about what Aaron Glenn has done, he has brought Detroit and maybe the coordinator that should have stayed with him, and all of a sudden you're seeing what this offense really should be. And he is going to play physical football, which allows Justin Fields to see the field better. It allows him to use his legs and get into rhythm. All of those things you saw against what we thought was going to be a really good defense in Pittsburgh, and they got after them.
I like how they kept it simple, especially early on. They ran the ball and they threw outs. It's like, all right, if we run the ball, you're going to have to go single high. Single high means we have 3 or cover 1 on the backside. Throw outs. It got him in rhythm doing it simple, easy reads.
That's
and then once he was comfortable, then they brought out the more sophisticated.
Promising sign also is they played great. They were upset after the game. They thought they should have won that game.
They should have.
Look at this as some consolation prize that, we had a participation trophy. We did great. No, they were very upset as a team, and the coaching staff was disappointed they didn't come out with a W.
And they easily could have. Frankly, there were a million different ways they should have won that game. Yeah. And whatever it is, losing to Rodgers is bitter. The running game was so. Breece Hall looked away. He hasn't looked since he was a rookie, right? That was a very encouraging sign. This week they get Buffalo. That's a pretty tough.
I mean, it looked like
You look like Freeman McNeil out there. He looked like Bruce Harper back in the day.
Let's go. 42. Let's go.
I used to go to those.
That's excellent Jets knowledge.
That's right. You know what? That's not bad.
I didn't see that coming. If you would drop Scott Dierking on us, I would have been real impressed. Kmart, here we go. One more for you. Would you be shocked, and Peter touched on it earlier, would you be shocked if Jaxson Dart is the starter for the Giants by the end of this month?
You know, Greeny, I would not be shocked, but I'd be surprised because my question would be, why was Russell even named the starter to begin with? I understand we see flashes from the kid. He can do a lot of things that Russell can't, but there's a reason that you made Russell the starter. That offensive line. Do I want to put the future out there behind that makeshift line? I wouldn't. And I just think we talked about it earlier, the external pressure that's mounting in this area when it comes to the Giants, I think I would hate to see that sway opinions when it really is about how do we do the best thing for Jaxson Dart and making sure he's out there when he is ready, not when Russell is.
That you touched on to start the show. What sense?
The timeline is what's interesting here. And Kimberly's great on that point about the external pressure. That does exist. Also, they brought in Russell Wilson in March with no expectation that they were definitely going to get a quarterback. They wanted Abdul Carter at 3, so they didn't expect that they might get a first-round quarterback also. They get Dart in April, and there was a plan. Okay, Russ is going to start, and then when Dart's ready, we'll go. Dart was outstanding all summer, and I think he might have surprised them how ahead of the timeline he is, which leads to Sunday. If Russ is going to perform the way that the offense did, I'm not blaming Russell Wilson. That whole offense was anemic. But if you're going to get that offensive output with no touchdowns, and this guy might be ready, what are we waiting for? Let's rip the Band-Aid off and let's throw him at
Didn't we say the same thing last year about Drake May in New England?
Yeah.
About, no, don't put him in there. You'll ruin him. He'll get his head beat and he won't be the same. Yeah, right. As soon as he got in there, the offense kind of lifted. It elevated. Because look, Diff knows, look, you have a guy who's behind you who you're snapping the ball to, you go, that guy can make some plays. I might not be able to block. Not saying you.
For sure.
Not saying
For
you.
sure.
But I'm saying this guy can mitigate some of the things some of the deficiencies that we have.
We talked about the external pressure. I think there probably is some internal pressure. Like I saw Malik Neighbors, man, ain't look happy right there in that game. Yeah. That's a tough way to start when your best player ain't giving you no dap. You need to get some dap, Dayball, and if Dart's gonna get you out there.
That is Malik Neighbors. Those not aware of it. That's how he was feeling, Jeff.
Not a good plan. When your number one does that. Here's the thing for me with that Jaxson Dart. Do I think he can elevate the offense? Absolutely. I think all of the things